Well, I'm joined here at Fringe Sunday with a guy who knows a little bit about Scottish music, Mr. Mr. Jim Gellatly.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm very well. How's yourself?
I was fine until I came out here, and this is the first time I've been outside the PRS tent, and I'm like thinking, I've missed a couple of things, haven't I?
There's been some stuff going on today, but
Yeah.
you've been hosting the PRS tent, is that right?
Yeah, and I've seen some amazing bands today. I think actually I'd heard of all the bands, I'd heard the music of all the bands, but it was the first time I'd seen all these bands, and it was cracking. It really was. I think there's a record number of applicants to play the PRS stage this year. There was over 500, and that was a shorter time that people had to send in their tapes. Normally it's like 6 months or whatever they get. This time it was like 2 months. And the standard of bands, I mean, I know some of the bands that didn't get through that I'm like, well, it's a bit wrong that they're not playing, but I know now why.
Yeah.
It was fab.
So, could you explain a little bit about the PRS stage? How does that work?
It works. You have a stage and bands play it.
No, but to get on the stage, how does that work?
Yeah, basically, PRS put out the word that they're looking for bands to play at Fringe Sunday in conjunction with the Edinburgh Festival Fringe, and people send their demos in, and then what happened this year? They have a judging panel, but a judging panel sitting down and listening to 500 plus CDs ain't gonna happen, so they created a shortlist, I think, of 39, and the 9 bands that played came out of that shortlist.
Okay. And what bands were on today, and who would you recommend from today's performances?
Well, it's always the one that's freshest in the mind. I've just seen the final band, Futuro, a 3-piece, hints of the Future Heads about them, but absolutely phenomenal, I thought. Someone said, oh, they don't have that many songs, and I said, they've got 9 great songs that I know of, that I've heard so far, and they played all of them, and they played a new one that didn't even have a name, and that was brilliant, so they were fantastic. Found are quite special as well, and you're aware of Found.
We had them on the show a couple of months ago.
And I watched it as well while I was doing my show. I was watching it, it's like, wow, this is really good, so you're doing a great job, guys. Yeah, because I'd heard the album and really enjoyed the Found album, but to see them live, it's just like, that's such funny looking instruments that they play. I know if you're a muso, you've probably seen instruments like that before, but apparently is it Ziggy from the band goes around, finds things, hence Found maybe, and plays them and makes music from them. I don't know, maybe weren't doing that today, but some great songs and great vibes, sort of beta bandy type thing, and I'm loving that sort of stuff. And I don't like really lo-fi music, but I'm fine with doing that to an extent, but I'm really digging what they do.
And what else have you been to see during the festival? Any hot tips?
Day one. This is me being at the festival. I've not been at anything this year at all. Some of the Tea and the Fringe bands look pretty good. The Best of Tea Break, I mean, that would be the one I would recommend anybody to go to. I can't remember who's playing it, but can't remember, but I'm pretty damn sure it's like 5 fantastic acts playing that, and the Tea Break stage at Tea in the Bar is always good, and it's nice that they do the wee things part of Tea in the Fringe, but you've got your bigger gigs like Kasabian and stuff, so it's pretty cool all around, the whole Tea on the Fringe thing. And that's not the only music that's happening during the festival, because Radiohead are playing, and it was funny because the Radiohead gig was announced as part of Tea in the Fringe, and then suddenly it's not, because I don't think they approve of the sponsor. I didn't say that. I don't think they wanted. I can imagine Radiohead is sort of band that wouldn't want to be associated with a corporate sponsor, only signed to a big multinational record label, you know. But so maybe. But there's some Belle and Sebastian, Princess Street Gardens. Wow, that'd be incredible. There's a heck of a lot of stuff happening. Music, and I would love to see some of the comedy as well. I'm hearing it coming out of a tent and just wanting to jump in, but it's too busy.
So you've heard of Nexus Live, you said you watched the show.
Yep.
What do you think about sort of new technologies pushing the industry forward?
I think it's fab. Everyone points at you know who, Sandy. But it's true, and people say that Sandy Tom's success and the whole net thing was contrived, but no. And MySpace, for me, as somebody who's going out and trying to discover music, I mean, MySpace is, for me personally, has become a bit too difficult to handle because I can't get through them all. But if you want to find a band, you go on MySpace now, and if you find a band you like, you look at their friends and see who their friends are, and you click on them and you find another band. I'm doing a feature on the show called MySpace Cadet, and it started off with my MySpace site, me going to my first friend with a download and taking it from there, going to another site, finding their first friend with a download, and it just keeps going on. I'm discovering great music from mostly now it's gone across the Atlantic and it's mostly American bands. I'd love it to come back here, but I mean really MySpace, the whole internet, webcasting. I'm getting really into podcasting at the moment. Not so much music podcasts. There's a few unsigned podcasts, there's a few copyright issues, but things like it's an XFM London show, Adam and Joe's show. They do a special podcast of that, which is just amazing. I mean, I'm not really aware of Adam and Joe's work, but I really got into what they do because they'll take it out and they'll do bits of their podcast. Bits of the podcast will be their radio show. Other bits of the podcast will be them in the Tate Modern or on the Bakerloo line or something, just talking randomly, talking nonsense, and it's fantastic. And I think broadcasting has to watch its back.
Yeah.
TV and radio need to watch their back because people ain't going to be interested. I mean, YouTube and MySpace are the mediums of the future, probably. I'm out of a job.
Oh, bless. Here, it's funny you should mention Sandy Tom. She comes up quite a lot on Nexus Live. You probably didn't know she did her first ever webcast on our sort of sister show, Left Bank Live. Is that news to you?
Actually, it's not news to me because I remember reading that.
The man who knows it all.
That's why I brought her up.
Yay!
You were supposed to jump in there.
We love you.
Cool.
Jim Gellatly, thanks very much for joining us on the show.
Thank you for pronouncing my name right. Hey.